Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I pray that you're having a wonderful and blessed day. Today's topic I'm going to be discussing, it is going to be about knowing when you're being attacked, spiritually attacked, and knowing the signs and paying attention to when you might be attacked and how to protect yourself from it. No matter what Satan tries to do to you, God is always there protecting you. Stay in the Bible, in His Word, understanding what you're reading so you don't fall into Satan's traps. I'm going to be sharing with you how different ways Satan tries to attack you and share some of my stories about what I went through and when I experienced my first attack. I've shared some of it with different recordings, but not everything in a lot of detail. This one is going to be a lot of more detail on that, but it's going to help you understand how to deal with it, and so you will get a clear understanding of when he's attacking you and when you feel like you're being attacked. One, I just want to make clear about, you might hear some noise in the background because I'm recording a little later in the evening. My son is awake, and as I've mentioned and shared a couple of times, if you've been listening to some of my recordings, my son has autism. And so he might be a little bit loud and might be a little noise in the back. He's 17 years old, but even though he's a teenager, he's very independent as far as being in the home, but I have to still be with him 24 hours a day. And so that's very important to me as a mom. I love him very much, and I want to make sure that he is okay and he's well taken care of, and he is. But sometimes he can get like a little loud. It's a joyous loud, meaning that he'll go from room to get the things that he wants, and then he'll start, making a little noise, and then he's looking at spiritual channels, and if there's a pastor that's ministering in a way that he responds to that in a positive way. He can get a little loud about that, and he just really is a really happy kid. So I just wanted to start off talking about one of the subjects of knowing when you're attacked. And I just want to start off when I had my first attack. So it's going to be like basically me sharing with you certain times that I felt that I was spiritually attacked, that I know I was. But at the time when it was happening in the beginning, I didn't really pay attention to that's exactly what was going on. So the first one I would have to say would have to be my health. I started having like these issues with getting sick, and I was the only one in the home that was getting ill. My husband wasn't getting ill, my stepson wasn't getting ill, and my son wasn't getting ill, but I was the only one getting ill. And at this time, I was getting more and more deeper into the Bible, but I wasn't really deep into the Word. But I was going to church with my family, studying in the Word, and I started having issues with my iron. My iron was getting very low, and I didn't really understand why it was. But for years and years, I had trained myself to stay away from beef because beef kind of stay in the body for a very long time. But I did not know as I got older that I would actually need to go back to eating beef. So it's very vital that you balance out everything in your body. But for me, I started getting like sick with just different things, not just with iron levels, but just different things. And so Satan was coming against my body and attacking it in that way, trying to make sure that I didn't get well enough to do certain things with my family. But I kept pushing through, and I kept making sure that I listened to what God was telling me. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor was telling me what was going on with my health, that my iron was low. And once I went to the doctor and got that issue resolved, I started having issues with potassium. And so I would go back and forth to the doctor, and the doctor couldn't tell me what was going on. And eventually she figured it out. It wasn't the medication I was taking that was making my iron low like that. It was because I had a cyst I was dealing with not only a cyst but fibroid tumors. And so I was dealing with all these different things. And so I found this book of this young lady. I wish I had written her name down. I'll put it in the comments. She's written a book about women's health, and she had this article in her book about fibroid tumors, or something that comes onto the body with stress level. And if you relieve the stress from your body, the fibroid tumors would actually just fall, out. You will start kind of like passing them like you're going to the bathroom. And she's written a couple of books, and her books are really bestsellers. And so I read her book and understood it and followed that, and it was helping my body, and my fibroid tumors were actually going down. And then I was, like I said, I was dealing with other health issues, dealing with the potassium. And then I started finding out from my doctor. My doctor was telling me, like, you have like a cyst on your kidney, and so this is why you're dealing with potassium issues on your body. And your body losing potassium a lot, and so you have to eat a lot of food and potassium. And now, for me, I never really been like a big banana eater. I'm not crazy about bananas, but I had to start eating those in order for my body to have enough potassium in it. And so my doctor started giving me like this liquid, and because at first, before she gave me this liquid, she was doing all these tests, and she said, well, I need to see if you have like this going on with your body. And so I started dealing with just different things that was affecting my body, and I was being attacked in that way with my health. And so I couldn't understand it, but I had one friend that would make sure I was okay, and of course my husband that was making sure I was doing okay. And she would call and check on me. And I remember, one night I went to sleep, and Father in heaven, I really believe that he sent like an angel to me to speak to me, because she was a female and she was very pleasant and she's very comfortable to talk to. And the first thing she did, she got my attention in the dream, and she said, keep moving forward. And the more she did that, I kept listening to what she was saying when I wasn't feeling too good. I remember there was a time that I woke up, my husband wasn't at home, my son was at school, my stepson was at school because my husband just took him to school, and our son was at school. And I got up, and I was the only one in the house, and I started getting like these major dizzy spells. And I actually didn't know why I was getting dizzy like that. And then I realized my blood pressure was very low. And I just stayed on the floor. I kind of got on the floor and just stayed there until the room stopped spinning. And then I just immediately said, well, let me go to the kitchen and make sure that everything is okay with my body. And so I started eating banana, eating just anything just to feel better. And so that was like the first attack I dealt with. I was still dealing with different health issues in the beginning. And God healed me and made sure, and he held me up. Let me just say, during that whole entire time, Father held me up through the time that I was not feeling very, very well. And he made sure I was taken care of, and he made sure I didn't have to fear, and I didn't fear, and I kept moving forward into what he wanted me to do and stay focused in his word. Because me and my husband was going to church every Sunday, every Bible study. And my husband at this time, he wasn't a pastor. He wasn't even an associate pastor. He actually just was a member of the church. And the more and more he got involved in the church, he became an associate pastor. And so we stayed focused on that, getting into church and doing church activities and staying together as a family. Even when my stepson, which is his son, would come over, sometimes we would just hold off on plans until he came, because we wanted to do things as a family. The next spiritual attack that I had would have to be in dreams. And I've shared this before about a recording, how to get God to fight your battles when you're being spiritually attacked and helping you. Because you have to go to Jesus when you're in your dreams. You have to pray before you go to sleep. Pray to God that you are being protected not only by him but by his guardian angels, and being in the dream with you and guiding you on what you need to do, because in keeping your mind focused and knowing when something is in your dream that shouldn't be there, because that's what you want. You want to be alert, and you want God to have you alert, even if you feel you need to go and go in and write Jesus on your hand, or wear a cross. And before you put a cross on and write Jesus on your hand, make sure you're in the word, because you have to know how to fight and battle, and that's the most important thing. Now, when I was being spiritually attacked, and I'm going to get really deep in this, because it's something that you need to know and you need to hear, and it's something that those who are following Jesus Christ and teaching the Word and studying the Bible and getting into the Word and understanding the last days and when Jesus is going to return, you need to know what you're dealing with in your dreams. Okay, so for the first thing that I had experienced, it was like something just was always finding me in the dreams. It was the most sickening thing that I ever dealt with in my life, and I had never dealt with anything like that, but it was always finding me in my dream, and it would always stand really close behind me with its private part thrust up behind me. Now, I could never really see anything and see who it was, but I knew something was in my dreams doing that. And so no matter where I was running to, no matter where I was hiding in my dream, even if I would go to a place I was familiar with, my mind, the dream would become really horrible. And then I started just praying over my dreams to be more peaceful, so I didn't have to deal with that and didn't have to deal with anything attacking me like that. So I just started praying over my dreams to be very, 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 very peaceful. And the more I prayed over my dreams to be very peaceful, the more I didn't deal with that. But I also was studying the Word, and I would wear the cross and write Jesus on my hand. So that's why I said wearing the cross and write Jesus on your hand. You want to make sure you're also in the Word, because you need to know how to fight. And so I started asking Father in heaven to make it very clear to me who it was. And not who it was, but just so I can see when it's coming, so I can sense when it's coming, and to protect me. And there were times in the dream that I know it was Jesus sending his guardian angels to come and protect me, because it would come after me and I can feel its presence in the dream. And these other men, it would always be men, would come dressed in certain uniforms. They would either be dressed in fire department uniforms or police uniforms or doctor uniforms, anything with a uniform on to get your attention, because God is trying to get your attention to, I'm saving you and I'm healing you and protecting you. So I want you to know that these men dressed in uniforms are protecting you. Doctors, what do doctors do? They heal you of illness. Fire department men, what do? They protect you from the fire. Police officers, they protect you from anything that's someone's trying to attack you or do anything harm. They're protectors in their field. And so that got my attention, that they were there. And I remember this one image. It was coming towards me. I can see it coming. And this man came out of nowhere. He was dressed in fire department gear. And he had like a net. And he caught it. And then he wrapped it up in like one of those net sacks, and he threw it in the back of a fire department truck. And it's like one of those fire department trucks that come with the ambulance. And he looked at me, he smiled, and then he got in the car and he took off. Got in the fire truck and took off, not the car, but the vehicle that came in. And so that was the second attack. And as I mentioned before, in the dream one, I'm going to share a little bit how I was healed from that. My husband prayed it off me, number one, and we prayed about it. And definitely, Father in heaven is the main reason that we were healed from that, because Father in heaven worked through my husband to pray it off me. And without Jesus in our life to get us straight, to get us focused, I would be still dealing with that in my dream. And I don't deal with that in my dream. I find myself actually I feel like helping people in their dream, because I've done it more than once. So I also feel like God in heaven also use you as a tool to help those in dreams as well. Those who are dealing with things in dreams. And so we have to remember that when we are being spiritually attacked in dreams, we have already fought and already dealt with it. And so Jesus is showing us how to protect people in dreams, because I remember having a dream where I was like partially in a lit area, and I had these protectors around me. And then I saw a person partially in a dark area, and they were fighting as well. And it looked like a video game. But I was making sure I was staying in the light. And everywhere there were light in the dream, I would actually walk in that light, but I could see there were protectors around me. And so um, I know it wasn't my mission to go over there and save that person. They had to save their self. But God, I believe God in heaven was showing me that you're going to be protecting people in their dreams. You're going to have to help them because they're fighting the same thing that you went through, and you were able to remove yourself from that. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is when you're having like an attack, which is the third one, attack, family separation. Satan will find ways to separate you from your family to make sure you and your family do not do anything together like you normally do. And I say this because it happened with my family, me and my husband and my son and stepson. We used to go a lot of places together when I first met my husband. And when we had our son, same thing. We went a lot of places together. But for some strange reason, my husband wanted to start doing things separate, like going to church separate, didn't want to go to church together. And if you see that in your family, whether it's cousins or relatives or anything like that, but especially within your family, you start seeing people go places together and then they just want to separate, even if they're at the same place. So I just found it strange that my husband was going to church without us. And this was becoming a consistent pattern. And I remember some of his friends, even the pastor, was saying like, why is he coming to church without you and the kids? And I say he gets up, he gets dressed, and he doesn't wait for us or nothing like that. So it became a regular routine for him. He was leaving the house and leaving us there. And so Father in heaven found a way for me to get him back into spending time with his family. And so I started showing him how it felt to do that. So we would do activities. I would plan things because I didn't understand that. We always did things together, like fun things. Let me just say for one really fun thing, as well with doing amazing things at church is number one fun thing, and going to church and fellowshipping with friends and family. And second to that would be planning like movie events at home, because sometimes when you have kids, it's very difficult to go to the movies and with them, especially when it's expensive. But we felt really comfortable a lot of times being at home, and it's not because our kid had autism. My son has autism. It's because it was so creative to go to the store, pick a movie, and then work with that theme at the house. I would dress up. I would tell my husband, take the kids to go get something to eat, and then I would decorate the house, like the area where the TV, just that area, that would work with the theme of the movie we're getting ready to watch. And the kids would come back and the house would be decorated and they'd be like, wow, so it was really cool to do stuff like that, and so I just wanted to talk about that one, not just that one. I'm going to continue. I have 9 here. Sending temptation. Now I'm just going to speak on mine. When I started really getting very heavily in the Word and staying focused and speaking about celibacy, and also talking about masturbation, because that was one thing that I struggled with. And when I talk about sinful nature in one of my other recordings, that was the sinful nature I was doing. You have to keep in mind, masturbation is not something you should be doing, because it's going to give you the desire to be intimate with someone when you're being intimate with yourself. And then you're going to start saying, if I can be with someone to take care of what I'm dealing with right here, I'll be fine. And all I got to do is just call them and they'll be okay to come and see me, and we'll be intimate together. So masturbation is a form of a sinful nature, because it's not something God wants you to do. And I've struggled with that. And so my main thing is, when Satan sees that you're struggling in a department, he's going to send people to help you with that struggle. And that's his way of helping you. And I had like this strangely, even when I wasn't masturbating, I would have like these men that would, I'm telling you, they would either show up at the front door, or they would flirt with me wherever I was. And I'm not saying like men flirt with you all the time as a female, and females flirt with males, but this was like a little strangely flirt. And these are the same men that I would see. Like one, like two I know is specifically married, and they live like right around me. Now I know some people mess around in their marriage. And I remember telling this one guy, even when I was in Rite Aid in the city where I live at, I told him, I said, listen, you're married. He said, I know, but I like you. And so I kept saying no to these gentlemen, even men that I know is like, you're no way you're interested in me. I already know that I got too much going on. I got my child to take care of. I'm trying to get myself together. My husband passed away. It was just like really weird stuff. I even remember feeling that energy with a female. It was a doctor that was doing the same kind of weird energy. I don't come on to anyone. I have been celibate for a while, and I don't plan on being intimate with anyone until I get married again. And so I don't have that energy to give anyone that I want to be intimate with you. It's just not there. You know what I mean? It's just not there. But Satan will use different things that you are struggling with, and he will say, okay, I got her. Even to the point where if he can't get you that way, he will try to use someone that he thinks he can use bigger influence on you. And that's when you want to make sure, definitely, when you start seeing that Satan is using different attack methods to get at you, you want to stay in the Word and pray to God to keep you focused and not be intimate or be trapped up in anything Satan is trying to throw at you. You want to protect yourself from that. And so you need to get into the Bible and get into the Word. And even if you're not a person that goes to church, or are unable to go to church because you're not feeling very well, or your body just can't handle going to church, or you just can't deal with church, still get in the Word and study with people who know the Word very well, they have, like I mentioned, there's pastors who are on TBN Daystar, and they just don't have just ministering 24 hours a day. There's also movies and shows and cartoons and different things on those channels. And there's also inspirational channels and another spiritual channel that's out there. You want to find these particular channels so you can get information. So as I mentioned, you want to look at Daystar, TBN, Impact, CTN, which is the country spiritual channel. They have a lot of people on that channel that sing and beautiful country music on that channel as far as spiritual. And then SBN, there's a lot of channels. On any channel that you look at, I know there's a channel called The God, which is another. I don't get it on the cable network that I have, but there's a lot of different spiritual channels out there. And so you want to find one that actually work for you, and you can listen to there's like spiritual music that you can listen to that's different style. I like all kind of I like all kind of genres of music that's spiritual. Rock, country, R&B, pop, just anything that I know that's of God are spiritual, because it's going to keep you focused, and God is going to help you remember certain songs and verses to help you keep you focused. So when you're worrying about something, he's going to bring a spiritual song in your head. Okay? And the next thing I want to talk about is also mother. It's still similar to the one I mentioned earlier, separation, but it's like mother, daughter, brother, father, child, cousin, and family separation, meaning that this one is a little different. Satan will try to bring a rift between you and your family. And his main thing is to keep you angry about something that is so minor it doesn't make any sense. So he wants to do that. His main focus is for you to stay specifically angry and upset at your family so that he can orchestrate and control everything in the situation. And so if he keep you angry about stuff to the point where you're not celebrating holidays together, where you're not talking over the phone together, and his main objective for you is to only speak to your family members through social media, and that's the only place that you're communicating with them at, and you have limited contact with each other, and you don't speak to each other on the phone anymore. That's the main thing that he's going to use. He's going to use that family rift separation. And so the other thing I want to talk about is fear, which is one of the major things that he focuses on, is to keep you fearful. If he can keep you fearful and unable to focus and unable to listen to what God is telling you to do, he's going to keep you on that path of being fearful of what's happening. And so your main focus you want to do is stay focused on what Jesus is telling you to do. You want to get into his word and knowing what he's telling you to do to fight fear. And there are so many scriptures in the Bible that will help you fight fear. And if you don't know where to find them, you can go to some of the pastors' websites, Joyce Myers, Creflo Dollar, Jimmy Swagger, Joseph Prince, all these different pastors that are on the channel, just different ones, Andrew Womack, I think his first name is Andrew, all these different pastors that are ministering and telling the truth through the word and ministering the word. You want to follow the pastors that are speaking truthfully in the Bible and helping you understand what you're reading. If you're getting confused while you're listening to a pastor, you want to find a pastor that's going to teach you the word. I actually listen to certain pastors that actually help me, I feel, with studying the Bible, and they get really deep and depth in it, and I get attracted to their teaching. And so I would say one is Joseph Prince, Creflo Dollar, and Joyce Myers. They get into the word. They not only, for me, it helps me because I'm slight dyslexic and I need someone to help me understand what I'm reading, because my slight dyslexic would kick in and then I will get confused. So I need someone to help me understand what I'm reading. And so that's why I kind of like get attracted to their teaching a little bit more. Second for that is, I would say, like, just people like, I'm on number 7. I'm sorry. I'm not even using the numbers when I'm talking to you, but I'm telling you what it is. So I have 9 of them. 7 is strange people. Now, when I say strange people, it's like people that come around you that talk to you as if they know what you're dealing with, as if you had a major conversation with them about your personal life and you never did. That is like a demonic attack. It's like you're being attacked spiritually in that way. And I'll just say it like this: about just very recently, a week or two ago, there were 2 ladies that came to the door, and they were Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, I have nothing against the Jehovah's Witness faith. My aunt is a Jehovah's Witness. I have nothing against it. I've been to the church. But I don't really always believe necessarily everybody that come to the door is of a religion. I've had people come to my door trying to sell products, and I always believe they're trying to get in the house. And some of them are. I had one girl asking for water, and can I come in your house and drink some water? No, you can't, because I really don't know if someone is with her. And if you look at some of the stories where people open the door, there's like somebody hiding somewhere. So these 2 ladies came to the door. That's my son in the background. As I mentioned, you'll probably hear him. I'm almost done, and so I know he's probably like, Mama, you're in there a little bit too long. 2 ladies that came to the door telling me they were Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, I've had Jehovah's Witnesses come to my door before. But my understanding, this is just me speaking, you start inviting people into your home to talk to you. If they have something on them, or if they're not who they say they are, and they have demonic influence on them, that demonic influence come in with them. That's just my belief on it. Okay. With them, I was talking to her, and this is where I found it very strange. She started testing me on the word. Now, I don't believe it was from Father in heaven, because I've been praying to him and asking him if that was from him. And when she would really kind of ask a question, she would look at me and kind of like, I felt like a demonic way. Like, do you know that? And I did, because I've been in the Word. And it shocked her, and she was shocked. It's like she had this shocked look on her face. And then she started asking me about video games. As I mentioned in one of my recordings, there are video games I no longer play anymore. I used to play a lot of bad video games. And I'm not saying really extremely bad, but I'll just say some ones off the top of my head. I've played Watch Dogs 1 and Watch Dogs 2. I played Far Cry 4 and 5. I played, games that God is not okay with. And I've always been the kind of person that I like games that keep me trying to figure out puzzles. Now, I had to go and get rid of those games. So I started removing, I had a gaming channel, and I still have it, and I believe Father, it wants me to use it for something, but as of right now, it's just sitting because he has me putting games on this channel, but games that are okay to play with when you're concerned about your spiritual following and following him. And so Jesus has been talking to me about, I need you to help my people with finding games that they can play. They need to enjoy life. And so that's one of the things that I'm doing. So if you see like games on the channel, it's for me to help you find games that will help you enjoy playing video games, and you don't have to be scared of it. And I'm going through all those and testing all these games, so I'll be playing them first before I actually put them up. And it's so that you will have an opportunity to enjoy and find games that are going to be for you. So she started asking me about games. I didn't even bring up video games. And she said, "Are you playing video games?" And I looked at her. And I said, "Yeah, I used to play really bad ones, but I said, I don't play those anymore." And she was shocked. That's what I mean about you need to pay attention to your surroundings around someone is around you and think you're being demonically when you have strange people around you. And they will do like strange behavior that doesn't make sense. I dealt with one on the bus, and I dealt with one at my door. And the lady, I remember her saying, "Well, can we come back and study with you?" And I said, "Oh, well, you can come back and, share your, I just told her, she said, "Well, can we come back?" She didn't say study, "Can we come back?" And I said, "Okay." Once I closed the door, I went straight to God and said, "There's no way in the world I'm letting that lady in my house. That lady's under demonic influence." And I never seen those two ladies again. Because Satan already knew when I turned around and closed the door and walked down the hall in my house and started talking to God in heaven, saying I know they were under demonic influence, he knew right then and there. She knows. Because I recognized it. How does she know I play video games? Why was she testing me on these scriptures? I already know them. I've been studying. That's why I say you have to get in the Word and study. It's very important. Number 8 is dealing with money. Satan is going to try to tempt you when you're very low on money. We all know that when you're low on money, people will use, like people, my husband always said this when he was alive, people take advantage of the sick, the elderly, and people who are broke. Satan will take advantage of that opportunity when you have very little money. He will use every tactic to get you. So if you're a female that's broke, he's going to send a man around you that have a lot of money, and the man might be doing something illegal, or he might not be doing anything illegal. And then he might use, once he give you money, he might feel like you need to bow down to him because I took care of all this, so you need to do exactly what I'm saying. When I was dealing with money issues, Father in heaven was telling me, I want you to do payday loans. Now, Father knew I didn't like doing payday loans, but I did a lot of them. And it helped me feed my child and myself. But the part I didn't share with you guys about that was on social media, Facebook, I was getting all these strange requests from people who were sending me friendship requests. And on the image of their friendship request, it was always they were flashing loads and loads of money. And what I kept doing when I saw that, I recognized what it was because I dealt with it before in a different situation. I had people, when I was dealing with masturbation, they was sending me like friend requests to a vulgar Facebook pages with someone showing their private areas. So Satan will do certain things to get to you, and one of them is money. When he know you're broke and you're low on money, he's going to bring people around you. And then he also going to use social media. Social media is like a playground for Satan. He will use any way he can to destroy you in that way. And so it's like a playground for him to play in and bother people and get into people's head and get people to do things to you or say things to you to get to you. So as I mentioned, I started having these strange people sending me requests, friendship requests to be their friend, and they would have like flash of money, and then they would throw money on the bed, and it would always be these recordings of money, and it was just very weird. And so what I did is I just kept blocking them and ignoring the friendship requests. I would just block them. Now the last one is number 9. It is demonic influence, and I've touched on demonic influence, but you need to know this is a part of Satan's attack on you. He's going to attack you in different ways, as I mentioned, and as pastors have mentioned. One thing I want to clear and make sure that you understand: when Satan is demonically attacking you in certain ways, he will try to get into your mind, and he will use imagery as a way of attacking you. You close your eyes, you will see like a picture. And sometimes it would be something weird, like a face looking back at you, or it's like they're replying to the way you're feeling. Or it would be like a demonic imagery. It's weird how to describe it, but it's just like, let's say if you're like, I rebuke you, Satan, and then you'll see like you blink your eyes for a minute, and then you will see like this picture of someone looking at you like upset. Like it's like an image. It's not an image floating in the sky. It's like if you close your eyes and you start dozing off. That's the kind of image I'm talking about where it will come. But you're wide awake. Now, while you're being attacked like this, in that way, you have to keep in mind, Jesus is sending things to you to tell you, don't worry about that. And Jesus speaks verbally to you. And Jesus will show you things, how you're being attacked. When I was being demonically attacked and dealing with stuff, God was showing me things to pay attention to. He was also showing me images, but his images wasn't like flashes of images. It was like a spiritual awakening image. It was like, I'm showing you this. I want you to see this. I want you to see it, and this is what I want you to start paying attention to. So his was more of like a film. And he wanted you to see everything. You have to understand. I'll give you an example, and I've shared this before. There was a woman that was in a store. Me and my son was in the market. And this lady, I can recognize now. One thing I want to point out to you, a lot of people that will talk about it, normally when people are doing witchcraft, sorcery, voodoo, whatever they're doing that's demonic, devil worshiping, they will recognize another spiritual person, and it's in their eyes. They have like a weird glare. It's very, very weird. They recognize you, and they kind of look in your eyes, like, look at you. This lady, and they come through sometimes when they're under that demonic influence, like very mean. You can say hi to them, they're not going to speak nothing to you. Sometimes they just look at you. And I felt like her mission was to get close to my son. My son is autistic. He has autism. Now, my son is a boy like any other boy, and I discipline him because of sometimes he's looking at women and girls who have very short dresses on. And I'm always disciplining him. And my main thing is I want people to understand my son has autism, but he's very much a boy. But I discipline him, and he understands that that's not the way you should be as a child, or as a man. You should not be disrespecting other women no matter what they have on. You can glance and then that's it. You need to control your eyes and tell your eyes, I'm fixed on Jesus. She came and got in line behind us. And the only thing she got was 2 chocolate bars. And she had this mean look on her face. And the first thing I started singing was How I Love Jesus. That lady backed up from me and my son and ran behind the guy that was behind us. And I recognized that guy that was behind us. He works out here. He's very nice. He was with his girlfriend. I recognize him. And then I started singing it again because I said, no, she's behind him because he's a nice guy. But I just started singing it because I didn't want her around us because she was just, here's the reason why. I had 2 candy bars. She had 2. So I'm telling myself I had some candy. I didn't want her switching her candy with mine because I don't know what she's putting on it. And so I started singing, oh, how I love Jesus again. She did like when I say 380, it's just like when people turn all over their body, not her neck, but her body turned all the way around. And she just fled. And I don't know where she went to. But her dress was so short. It looked like a shirt. And I can tell she had something on her. One thing you want to recognize and pay attention to when you're being demonically attacked, God is going to give you the instruments, let me just point that out, to fight. And he's going to show you how to fight and remove them. As I mentioned to you, I used to get attacked in my dreams for a very long time, almost 2 years. Not quite 2 years, almost. Because when it first started happening, I didn't know what to do. I kept telling my husband about it. And then my husband, he prayed it off me. And I remember the day he prayed it off me. He said, I got to run outside. I got to release this. That's how deep it was. He had to go and pray and release that out of there. When you're being demonically attacked or when you're being spiritually attacked, Satan is going to try different methods to attack you. There are going to be some people that might be trying to use witchcraft on you. You need to recognize it. Because, like as I mentioned, I dealt with someone who I'm no longer friends with, which I believe used witchcraft and was trying to use witchcraft on me. And Father, remove that. And I also believe this person has built a friendship on one of my family members. And me and that family member don't talk. Now, this is just my opinion. So I believe this person built a friendship with one of my family members. And I believe they're using that on them. So I just wanted to share this with you, and I just hope that this helps you in so many ways, because it's very vital that you know what you're dealing with and how to fight it. If something is attacking you in your dream, go directly to Jesus. Jesus will help you stay focused on what you need to do and how to fight it in your dream. Get into the Word, get into the Bible, understand what you're reading. Do not allow Satan to come into your life and cause havoc in your world. No matter what you're dealing with in your life, you need to go directly to the Word, and you need to go directly to Jesus and speak to Jesus. Speak directly to Jesus' Father and ask both of them, your heavenly Fathers, what to do and how to battle this. Jesus is going to help you understand what you need to do. He's going to guide you. That is something very vital and very important that you need to do. Like I said, this recording is pretty long today because I feel like it is just very vital that I share this with you and you understand. So I pray that you have a wonderful and blessed day and you stay focused on what God has for your life. And don't allow anything to remove it, and recognize when you're being spiritually attacked. Keep in mind, Satan is only attacking you because you're doing God's work. And he knows once you get stronger and better in what you're doing the work for God in heaven, it's going to dismantle all his plans. Keep in mind, when Jesus died on the cross for our sins, it dismantled everything Satan had planned to do. That is definitely in the Word. So stay blessed and stay focused on what God has for your life. Have a blessed day.